So as many of you know, we run this business based on A Course in Miracles, okay? And this has been something that has been a practice of mine since 1995. Wow. In 1993, I saw Marianne Williamson on Oprah, and she wrote the book, A Return to Love. And I read that book, and then I ordered A Course in Miracles, and it came in a big packet, and it was a big book with, I think, 30 cassettes. And the book is broken up into 3 sections. The first section is a text, okay? And it's like 400, 600 pages of text, which basically set the philosophy of A Course in Miracles. The second book is a workbook, and it's 365 lessons. It is a mind training. So it is a psychological mind training that moves you from the thought forms of the world, which are fear, to the thought forms of spirit, which is love. And you can't really live in love until you rechange your wiring of your brain. And this is the manual that does it. It's the manual that's done it for me. And I've done NLP and tons of change work, all of which assisted in that. But it wasn't until I started doing the lessons and training my brain that I literally started seeing the world differently. And miracles began to show up. Okay.
Right.
And so, and what was interesting is I don't know what happened to it. I don't have the cassettes. On the cassettes, I think it was the daily lessons that were on that. And it had this deep, booming voice. He was wonderful. A Course in Miracles. It was fantastic. However, the course is thick. It's not a simple read.
Yeah.
And you read a paragraph, and you're like, what did they say?
It could take you an hour to read
Yeah.
like 3 sentences.
And so, so part of my practice would mean it sat on the shelf for a year or two. Then I'd pick it back up, and I'd pick it back up. But then it was only a matter of time until, most of the book started getting completely highlighted. Dog-eared, switched around, okay? And it's a beautiful practice. And I want to share with you a section which I think is completely relevant to our tribe. This is the original copy.
Yeah.
I just recently, because I got Shannon one, I just recently bought a new one that's a hardcover.
Mm-hmm.
And we just recently watched the story of A Course in Miracles, which you can get free on YouTube. And it was a woman named Helen Schuckman and her colleague Bill, can't remember his last name. Yes,
Ted,
that's right,
yeah.
Tedford, something like that. And they worked at Columbia University Psychological Hospital, Psychological Medical Center. And they were PhD psychologists. Both of them atheists, and were very driven in their career.
Mm-hmm. By science.
By
like
science.
That, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Helen started having dreams, and they disturbed her because she was atheist. So Bill said, write them down. And for 7 years, she was channeled by Jesus to write this book. Every word written in this book is the word of Jesus through her. And when you read it, and when I first heard that, I'm like, yeah, right. I didn't believe it. I'm like, I don't know if I believe in that sort of stuff. But the more I study this and the language that is in this, the language that is written in this, a lot of it is iambic pentameter. A lot of it is cause and effect language, okay? Which means it's designed to if this, then this, and then if this, then this. So it's teaching the mind on a logical level. It's teaching the spirit on an unconscious level. So when you begin to get into the book, you realize that, and the way that it's consistent, I mean, you have 1,200 pages here where they don't contradict what they teach. And the human mind could not do that, okay? So it comes from something extraordinary. And what I love about the course is I was raised, my dad was Catholic, my mom was Methodist. My mom was very tortured in her spiritual, religious beliefs, because she saw a lot of hypocrisy and lying and manipulation around it. And my dad was the exact opposite. He was very much at peace with his spirituality and had gone to school in high school. He had done a couple years of Christian school, and so at a Catholic church. And so he knows all the Latin and all that sort of stuff. But I was raised really without religion. We would pray at Christmas, Easter, and we might go to church on occasion. But Christmas was about presents and about decorations. It wasn't about connecting with God. So I didn't really have a connection with God. And so anything that said God was uncomfortable to me. This is based, it has Christian language in it. Okay, so they use the term Holy Spirit and Christian, it's Christian based. But what it has done is it doesn't have a dogma. And that's what I love about it. Okay, so that no matter what religion you are or you believe in, the course allows you to have a better experience and relationship with the divine. Because it's teaching you how to think the way God wants you to think. Okay? So what I want to share with you now is some passages from the third book in A Course in Miracles. So you have the text, you have the workbook for students, and at the end, they have a manual for teachers.
And the other, it was maybe last week or the week before, he's like, oh my God. Like, he was doing his lesson and everything. He's like, I have to read you this section. And when he read it to me, we were like, oh, we have to share this at Presence and Profitability. It's just divinely perfect. And it's all about what it means to be one of God's teachers. So you have been called to be a leader and to be a teacher. If you feel that calling within you, you are being called to be one of God's teachers. And we have a responsibility in that. So the course actually outlines what it means to be one of God's teachers.
When I first, that's part of what was part of our inspiration for Big Impact, is a couple years ago when I read this section and really got into this section because I was being called to be a teacher. I'm like, I want to be a teacher of teachers. I want to inspire them to get out there and do this work. And so that's one of the reasons why we talk about big impact and the ripple effect. And so this is that section. I'm going to read some sections on you here. Okay, so this is a little bit of the introduction. And what I love about this is this talks about a whole concept. And the reason that we're giving this to you now is because we're going to be, in the next couple days, you're going to be coming up with your programs and your packages, which is what you're going to be teaching in the world. And as soon as we do that, we give it a label. And as soon as it gives you a label, your brain starts to pick at it and find out what's wrong with it. And you get caught up in, well, is it the right thing? And I need to be teaching this, and I want to teach that. And the thing is, you've got to cut certain things off in order to have a business. There are things that you're not going to be able to do in your marketing that you do in your fulfillment. And so you've got to trust. This book is about cultivating trust, okay? So you've got to trust that where you're at now is where the universe wants you to be. And that doesn't mean you're going to be starved or left out or have anything that is depriving. You can have the peace of God right here, right now. And that's what the teachers of God, that's what he wants for his teachers. So it talks about the role of learning and teaching, and this is going to be a reframe for a lot of you. The role of teaching and learning is actually reversed in the thinking of the world. The reversal is characteristic. It seems as if the teacher and the learner are separated, the teacher giving something to the learner than to himself. Further, the act of teaching is regarded as a special activity in which one engages only a relatively small proportion of one's time. The course, on the other hand, emphasizes to teach is to learn, so that teacher and learner are the same. It also emphasizes that teaching is a constant process. It goes on every moment of the day and continues into sleeping thoughts as well. To teach is to demonstrate. There are only two thought systems, and you demonstrate that there are only two thought systems, and you demonstrate that you believe one or the other is true all the time. The question is not whether you will teach, for in that there is no choice. The purpose of the course might be said to provide you with a means of choosing what you want to teach on the basis of what you want to learn. You cannot give to someone else, but only to yourself, and this you learn through teaching. Teaching is but a call to witnesses to attest to what you believe. It is a method of conversion. It is not done by words alone. Any situation must be to you a chance to teach others what you are and what they are to you. No more than that, but also never less. So it goes on to talk about the importance of who you are, because you're always teaching. So we want you to stop looking at your business as something that you're going out in the world to do, and instead you're going to the inner world to do. And you attract because of who you are and the vibration that you're living. Because you're always teaching. And so if you're reaching for things and trying to make things happen, you're teaching from a place outside of yourself. Make sense? Okay. All right. Who are God's teachers? This is where it gets juicy. A teacher of God is anyone who chooses to be one. You're like, yay, that's me. His qualifications consist solely in this. Somehow, somewhere, he has made a deliberate choice in which he did not see his interests apart from someone else's. Okay? So notice how, as a business owner, that's an incredible thing to think about. You don't see your needs or your interests as apart from your clients. So much of what keeps us from selling is we think that we're trying to get something from them. The Course helps reverse that thinking as that you're sharing in something with them. Okay? Once he has done that, his road to established and his direction is sure. So all this is saying is once you've made the decision that you and the other person are sharing in a journey, you've arrived. Okay? A light has entered the darkness. It may be a single light, but that is enough. He has entered an agreement with God, even if he does not yet believe in him. He has become a bringer of salvation. He has become a teacher of God. And the Course says early on that they are going to use the term he because they don't want to do the he-she thing back and forth all the time. And so oftentimes you'll see women, they'll get their ego up around the Course because it always refers to a masculine kind of what's what I'm looking for? Pronoun. And so we just need to get past that and recognize that for teaching purposes, he and she doesn't exist on a spiritual level. Okay?
And they explain that in the introduction just to kind of set the context. Yeah.
So God's teachers, they come from all over the world. They come from all religions and from no religion. They are the ones who have answered. The call is universal. It goes on all the time everywhere. It calls to teachers to speak for it and redeem the world. Many hear it, but few will answer. Yet it is all a matter of time. Everyone will answer in the end, but the end can be a long, long way off. It is because of this the plan of the teachers was established. And each one saves 1,000 years of time as the world judges it. To the call itself, time has no meaning. Because according to the Course, it's already happened. Okay? There is a course for every teacher of God, just like you have your own curriculum that God has given you in your learning. Your own curriculum is set forth for your learning, and that learning is to have you become the ultimate teacher of God. You following me? Okay? So you also have a course that you're meant to teach people based on the curriculum that you learned from. The form of the course varies greatly. So do the particular teaching aids involved. But the content of the course never changes. Its central theme is always, God's Son is guiltless, and in his innocence is his salvation. Get choked up. It can be taught by actions or thoughts, in words or soundlessly, in any language or in no language, in any place or time or manner. It does not matter who the teacher was.